News and information 570 AM.
96.3 FM HD2. KLIF Dallas. KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth. KLIF.com.
A Cumulus station.
Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, DFW Metroplex. Welcome to Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga here, your host. Come on in, stay a while. Let's talk a little bit of real estate, mortgage, insurance, home improvement, and all kinds of good stuff. By the way, we are here every Sunday at 8 a.m., so tune in or go to the website and catch all the archive episodes. And guess what? Great news for you. I know some of you on different devices out there were having issues playing back our episodes. Guess what? That is all taken care of. We've just decided to turn them all into YouTube videos. And so everybody from any device, no matter what platform you're on, or mobile or PC or Mac or whatever, you can play YouTube, no problemo. So we've just said, that's it. We'll turn them all into those, and boom, that's done. So you can hit all those on the archive page on InsideRealEstateRadio.com. And you might want to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well so you can get all the updates as soon as they go live. Usually we get those up there on Monday sometime in the afternoon. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to talk some real estate. Coming up 8:15, we're going to do insurance talk with J.C. Harder of Goosehead Insurance. Coming up after that, in segment 3, we're going to be talking to Kevin Hamus of Ideal Flooring right here in studio live. And he's fighting injuries today, so he came in this morning as a trooper. And in fact, we're all fighting injuries today. I've had some injuries I've been fighting for about a couple months now, and Angela's got a couple injuries she's fighting, so we're all banged up in here. But guess what? We're here. We are here for your listening pleasure. We're going to do some headlines, and we're going to get to talk to Angela coming up at the end of the hour at about 8:45, doing mortgage talk with Supreme Lending Rock Wall. Let's get on into it. By the way, driving in this morning, I've just noticed that down here kind of around the Victory Park area that Houston Street and Victory Ave over here have decided to go two-way streets, and that's really frustrating because it was 4 lanes basically each way, one way, and now all of a sudden it's a 2-lane road with a middle turn lane and then bike lanes. And I've never seen any bicycles down here at all. Area that needs to get traffic moving in and out, and now it's down to a 2-lane from basically a 4-lane going each way. I'm not sure who made that decision. I think it was a bad decision. I want answers, and nobody ran that by me. It's unacceptable. We need to figure this out. And just like those HOV lanes, we got these bike lanes, these HOV lanes nobody uses. Let's just look at them, and they're sitting there empty. So there's my rant for the morning. So there you go. If you want to call in, by the way, 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. That's 5543, and we can chat. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Don't forget our app, provided by SnapRealEstate.com, Snap with 2 P's. If you got... doesn't matter whether it's Apple or Droid, you can punch in DFW Metroplex Real Estate and get our app. So if you're actively looking right now, definitely hit that up. Let's go ahead and let's go to inside our timeline here, going way back in time. We like to do a little bit of this day in history back in time. So December 20th, back in time. Let's see what we got. 1192, Richard the Lionhearted was captured in Vienna. If you know a little bit on that history, it was after the Third Crusade. He was returning home and got picked up. Emperor of Germany held him for ransom, and of course that ransom was paid. And he went back briefly and then went back. He spent most of his time out abroad in warring, and ultimately was killed by a crossbow in back in battle in France. So 1192, he was captured back in Vienna. What else do we have back in time? 1944, the Battle of Bastogne, where the Nazis had surrounded the 101st Airborne. And there was about a 7-day battle as part of the Battle of the Bulge. And ultimately, Patton came in with his ground forces towards the end to assist them in that. Interesting, that little town was basically a convergence of 7 of the main roads there, so near Luxembourg, and so it was a very strategic location. That was 1944. Battle of Bastogne started. 1962, on a lighter note, Osmond Brothers debuted on the Andy Williams Show. 1966, NBA brings in the Seattle Supersonics as a franchise. And 1967, we're up to nearly 500,000 soldiers in Vietnam. 1973, Montreal Canadian Henri Richard scores his 1,000th NHL point, which is huge. Bounced to 1974, Godfather Part 2 is released. Happened to be the best picture in 75. 1975, Joe Walsh decided to join the Eagles. Joe Walsh also has a nice independent career as well, seen in some great songs like Rocky Mountain Way, All Night, and he had that great song on the Urban Cowboy soundtrack. 1985, sportscaster Howard Cosell retired from television. He was 20 years with ABC and, of course, had a longer career than that, but 20 years with ABC Sports. And, in fact, one of the greatest broadcasters, really, and a lot of folks had different opinions about him, but he was a great, well-respected broadcaster. And, in fact, during a 1980 broadcast of the Dolphins and the Patriots on Monday Night Football, he actually announced, many people that were listening and found out about John Lennon's death. Learned it from watching Monday Night Football, that game. They actually did announce that during the game, and they talked about whether they wanted to mention that or not during the game. And Gifford said, we've got to let the people know because we can't just sit by on that. And so that was one of the big moments for certainly Howard Cosell in his career, and having to make that decision on whether or not to bring that out or not. And Frank Gifford urging him on to do that. 2007, Queen Elizabeth II becomes the oldest monarch of the UK, surpassing Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria went until 81, and of course, Queen Elizabeth II is 89 years strong and going. And moving on to 2012, the Intercontinental Exchange purchased the New York Stock Exchange for $8.2 billion, and kind of forgot about that. That was kind of something that a lot of people don't know about still today, that, the New York Stock Exchange was bought by the Intercontinental Exchange. So there you go. That is this day in history, and that's what we got going on all the way back in time, December 20th, back in time. By the way, tomorrow, start of winter, 12/21, winter solstice. So happy winter solstice starting tomorrow. Hey, I wanted to mention this because being from Arlington, former state senator Chris Harris passed away over the weekend at age 67, and so wanted to give condolences to his wife and family. Long time, 28-year career as a state lawmaker, and longest-serving Republican for the Texas Senate that we've ever had. He served portions of the Tarrant County, Denton, Johnson, Parker, and Dallas counties throughout his 28-year career, and just a great man, and was a big proponent of UTA over there in Arlington, and a big supporter of UTA, and a reason why UTA kind of did so well and really grew the way that it did. So just wanted to mention that. A great man, and passed away this weekend. So, again, condolences to his wife and family. Great man, and thank you for all your service throughout the years to our area and the state of Texas. Folks, we're going to take a little break here, and then we're going to come on back and talk with J.C. Harder about some insurance talk. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate, law, and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com, that's txtitleattorney.com, or call 817-310-0136.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211-731-6730, Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Hey folks, we're back. It's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. It's time to head on into another insurance segment with our favorite insurance guy, J.C. Harder from the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency. Website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com, and where they are always standing by for all of your insurance needs, 214-643-6108. J.C., welcome back.
Nice to be back, Mike. Thanks.
So I know we're going to get back into those rolling segments that we've been working on. We've done quite a few so far for each week, and this just kind of stresses the amazing abilities you have to check in to somebody's situation and figure out exactly what's the best policy and the best premiums, the best rates for them. And you do that through shopping all of your network of providers out there. And so we've been doing these rolling segments on these. And so who are we going to talk about today?
Yes, Mike, we're going to talk about a company called QBE. Now, I don't know what that stands for, and I did some research, before the segment, but that's just what their name is QBE. They've been a partner of Goosehead since 2011. I'll go through, some highlights of them, and obviously if anything, comes up question-wise, feel free to call in. Again, that's 214-643-6108. Most importantly, they are A-rated for financial stability, which is what, Goosehead prides itself on as far as all of the carriers we represent do have the money to pay out in case something does happen. There is a lot of companies out there that don't have A ratings, so they might be a couple $100 cheaper a year, but then a claim happens and, you're out a couple $1,000s. So they are A-rated. Now, what's unique about QBE is they're a worldwide insurance provider. So they're actually headquartered in Sydney, Australia, and they write insurance in 48 countries across the world.
Okay.
Now, you might think that, you want local with insurance, and of course, everything is local with insurance. So as far as inspectors, appraisers, claims, anything like that, they're going to be, here in DFW, Austin, Houston, wherever you have your home here in Texas, they will have their local adjusters to help you out. They just, ride all across the country, which
Sure.
That goes into their, A-rated financial stability because, they're riding all across the place there.
Sure, yeah, they're spreading their risk out all over the world, so which can be a good thing. And of course, you're local right here, so even though they're based over in Australia, we got JC and Patty right here.
Absolutely. Now, you won't see tons of advertisements TV-wise or marketing commercial-wise or anything, and the reason why is QBE is Bank of America and Wells Fargo's in-house insurance carrier. So whenever you see, insurance on their, online banking or see it on their promotions on TV, they're promoting that they write the insurance, but they actually go through QBE. So QBE is not going to spend millions of dollars advertising when Wells Fargo and Bank of America is going to do that. And then that's how that benefits you as a policyholder because you're not paying the Geico, tons of marketing that's out there.
Sure. So they have already a lot of business that's built in with their corporate relationships But the good thing as far as passing along savings to folks is they don't have all the overhead of the advertising.
Absolutely. And what's even, really unique about QBE, we've only been with them for 3 or 4 years. We've had really good experience with them in those 3 to 4 years. I've had claims with them on $1 million home, broken pipe, about a $50,000 water loss that he said they just went above and beyond. Really good communication, fast turnaround time. But we're one of 11 agencies across the country that has access to QBE. So how that's a benefit, if you're in Dallas County and a big storm comes through like they always do, well, instead of a State Farm or a Farmers, insuring the whole neighborhood, you're going to be one of a very few small percentage that has QBE. So they're not going out of business. They have money and they're not paying out, say they're paying out 4 to 5 roofs instead of 50 roofs.
Right. Yeah, so it sounds like they just have a really good business model as far as how they manage their risk and the strategic geographic areas that they accept risk.
Absolutely. And they do, we've talked a lot about the different types of policies out there. This is one of the open peril or all risk HO3 policies. So, and they don't write anything less than that. So, they want the good standard client, and they're going to give you a better product because of it. A couple other highlights of their policy is you can actually extend your liability on your homeowner's policy. So if you do have, 1 to 3 to 5 rental properties out there, you can list each one of those addresses under this policy. And not only would you have your liability on that rental policy, but you would also have some extra liability extended to that as well, too.
Okay, so yeah, definitely huge benefits there for sure, absolutely.
And they do write a secondary homeowners policy, which a lot of companies just don't because you're not there a lot of times. So, it's a high risk to them. But they do write the secondary, and they write the rental property quote as well, too. And they're one of the only companies that you can just change, from owner to tenant occupied. Instead of rewriting the whole policy, you keep the same policy number. All the premiums that have been paid, are still there. So it's a very easy switch if, things with your properties do change.
Okay. So no worries as far as the second home, the lake house, the beach house, any of those types of options. And if you wanted to sell those or just turn them into rentals, as you're saying, that's no problem either.
Absolutely. And that's what it seems like a lot of investors don't change or shop a lot because they're scared of the process. So QBE makes it easier for you.
Okay, great.
Now, again, we're always talking about bundling, bring in your autos. That's your best price point and everything. What's nice about QBE is they don't write auto insurance in Texas. However, they'll give you that bundle or companion product discount with any one of Goosehead's auto providers. So whether if Travelers or Progressive or Safeco is best for your auto, whichever one is truly best, you'll still get that discount on the QBE side.
Okay, well then that's a huge benefit right there. So not only do you have the option with all these other providers, but on this one in particular, we can get your home taken care of, but you'll still get that bundle discount even though they're not going to write it. But you can get it written with somebody else that you work with. Again,
another benefit, just kind of long term, because things do change. You get new cars. A kid turns 16. Where that one auto might not be as competitive anymore. You're still going to keep your bundle. So, last 2 points on QBE. Probably one of the main highlights or selling points for them is they're one of the few companies in Texas that still offer the split deductible option. So, in Texas, it's mostly percentages. So your wind hail pretty much has to be a percentage, especially in North Texas. However, that other deductible, when I say other, that's the all other peril. That's for your fire, your theft, your vandalism, your water damages, electrical surge, and so on. Those can, be lowered to a $1,000 or $2,500 deductible. So if you get into those higher value homes around, $300,000 to, $500,000, instead of having a $5,000 deductible, you can pay a little more a month and have $1,000 or $2,500.
Okay. And that is a pretty rare option, right? And having a split deductible, because you don't hear that very often at all.
Yeah, pretty much everyone is, the percentages are the same across the board. So again, once you get into those higher value homes, and not necessarily even higher value, on a $200,000 house, you're looking at a $2,000 deductible, but spend $8 to $10 more a month and, lower that deductible by $1,000 can, be a big benefit later on.
Sure, absolutely. Because when something does happen, oftentimes that deductible is a really big pain in the butt. And so for maybe a few dollars more in premium, get that deductible down, maybe it makes sense for you and your situation, especially if you happen to be in one of those policies that is a 2% deductible.
Absolutely. Last point on QBE is now they're not the best with like kind of the ranches. Like once you get into the horses and the cows and chickens and all that, they're not the best for that. However, yes, we hear chickens on our underwriting a lot. So, but they're not the best for that type of house. But at the same time, if you just have a house on a lot of acres, like with no livestock, they'll actually take an unlimited amount of acreage. So where a lot of companies max out at 5 or 25 or even 50, they'll take any amount of acreage as long as there's not extreme livestock or ranch going on.
Okay. So as long as it's not an active ranch, you're not actively farming it, then they'll take it.
They basically classify it as like pet use. So if you're under 2 or 3 head, horses or cows, things like that, then that's considered pet use and still, a personal policy. It's once you get into the, the larger livestock options.
Okay, and that's good to point out because we do have a lot of clients out there that do buy small rural homes on maybe 4 or 5 acres, and you are limited, of course, to the 1 horse per acre, etc. So that would be covered for those guys, but anything commercially farming or ranching, it's not going to work out. Okay. Well, look, that's a lot of great information, a lot of good information about QBE. And, folks, QBE is somebody you're probably not going to be able to access anywhere else but right here with J.C. Harder at the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency. Just another great benefit of going with J.C. and Patty over there. Folks, their phone number is 214-643-6108. The website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. J.C. has been another great insurance segment. This has been QBE, folks, on the rolling segment of insurance providers that only J.C. has access to here in the DFW area. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
Millennium Title Carroll PC Real Estate is a unique multi-service real estate title, law, and real estate investment firm that handles over 150 commercial and residential closings each month. Their real estate, legal, and tax services range from purchases to refinances to short sales and reverse mortgages. They can handle all of your real estate, legal, and tax planning needs. Their experience offers clients and investors a comprehensive perspective in managing their real estate law and investment needs. Visit txtitleattorney.com, that's txtitleattorney.com, or call 817-310-0136.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
The J.C. Harder Insurance Agency in Uptown Dallas has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency Network. For a quote today on all your insurance needs, stop by J.C.'s office on McKinney Avenue in Uptown Dallas. Call 214-643-6108 or visit jcharderagency.com. That's 214-643-6108 or jcharderagency.com.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 1414 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 1414.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. It's Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga here, your host. Website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, realestateradio.com. Thank you, JC, for another great insurance segment. And by the way, the folks, during that entire segment for your entertainment pleasure, JC was juggling sticks of fire and jumping through hoops of fire, all for your entertainment pleasure because he loves it so much. Insurance, that is. Thank you, JC. Always entertaining. Folks, time to go into a home improvement segment we have here live in studio. Kevin Hamus of Ideal Floors, owner of Ideal Floors, and the only owner of a company I know out there that's going to give you his cell phone number because he wants to talk to you and take care of you. By the way, that number is 214-789-0422. Kevin, how are we doing today? Sore? I know you got an injured shoulder and you rolled into the studio here like a trooper here this morning, and we much appreciated.
Yeah, it was not a very good night's sleep, but I did pretty good.
Good. Well, I always love having you in here because we always have a great conversation. And so what exactly do we know today besides the fact that the Cowboys stink?
Well, actually, one thing I found out this morning was that I was on my GPS coming here, and the street really isn't pronounced Houston. My GPS corrected me. It's pronounced Houston.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was unaware of this.
So
Houston.
Yes.
I'll be in Germany. Austin. Maybe that's why they, you know what? That's probably why they turned it into a two-way and have all the bicycle lanes now.
Yeah, right.
Because they ride a lot of bicycles over there. So I get it now.
Anyway, today we wanted to talk some about financing. We have lots of different financing options.
Okay.
At Ideal. First one we have is for people who don't have any credit and don't have good credit, but they have great check writing history. So
are you sure you want to work with those people? They have great check writing
history. We have a program called 30/60/85, and the way it works is you come in and you make a purchase, like let's say it's $1,000. You put $250 your first check, and then you give 3 more checks of $250, which get run 30 days out, then 60 days out, then 85 days out.
Okay.
So for people who don't have good credit, that's a good option.
Sure.
To be able to do that, be able to pay it out in 4 payments.
Right.
We also have, for a lot of people who are selling their homes, we have a pay at closing option. And the way that works is we have the seller comes in, picks out their selection, and then they run an application on them and qualify for Wells Fargo. But we give them 45 days to be able to sell their house. And if they do sell it in the 45 days, then we will get paid from closing. But if they don't sell it in the 45 days, then we can run their Wells Fargo and give them an additional 6 months, same as cash, to, just before they have to pay it off. So hopefully, it's a way to be able to get flooring in your house without, having put any money out of your pocket, and really don't even pay any interest because it's all, interest free, and you should be able to have it sold within 7 months.
Right.
So, that's a really good option.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great option for our sellers out there that need flooring. And like we say, flooring and paint, those types of things, you really need to get those done so you can get top dollar. And it's a great option, absolute great option for us there. And then the other option, too, for folks who are, staying in their home and not selling it, some alternate financing options for sure. Right.
And also we have third-party financing. Actually, we have a company that I think the interest rate's about 6%, but you can finance, I think it's like around $9,000 for $100 a month. So, that's another way, if you don't have the cash up front, you want to do your whole house, but you can do $100 a month. It's a way to get your house refloored that way. So, and I mean, there you have to have decent credit to be able to do that.
Right. And, of course, folks, you can always go to idealfloors.com, which is the website, to check out more information. 5 locations throughout the DFW area, millions and millions and millions of square feet of material. And we talk about this with Kevin. he's got the product in stock, and the way he does business is he gets materials in a way that is just smart business, that he's able to pass the savings along to you out there. Prices you're not going to get at the big box retail store. And, of course, you can always talk to him about 100% satisfaction direct, because guess what? He's giving you his cell phone. What other, we have any additional financing options?
Those are the main ones, really.
Okay.
We actually also have 6 months same as cash or 12 months same as cash. Just even if you're not selling your home.
Okay.
If you come in and you want to have your house redone, we can fill out a Wells Fargo application. Once you get approved, we can give you between 6 and 12 months same as cash financing. But all of these same as cash financing programs, you have to pay it off, because the way they work is the interest does not get. You do have interest, but at the end of the period, if the balance has been completely paid off, all the interest is completely wiped out.
Right.
But if you have 1 penny owed, all the interest gets added onto the account.
Right, at the end.
So, it's a great way to you're not paying any interest. You're spreading your payments out over 6 months to 12 months, sometimes even up to 18 months. But it's a way to do that without having any money out of pocket, and not without paying interest.
Right, exactly. You can go in, get it all done, put it on the 6 month or 12 month, which honestly is a great way to do it. And you got to be, hardcore about budgeting yourself.
Yes,
you can't just be willy nilly, and because if you are, you're going to get surprised at the end with some extra fun interest. But yeah, great way to do it if you're diligent about it, pay it off, every month. And that's a great way, because flooring, depending on what you're doing, if it's a large home, could be a fair expense, and great option for people out there. So if you're thinking, hey, you only have the option to put it in on your own credit card personally, or you got to pay for it up front cash, no. Get with Kevin. You can go 6 month, 12 month. If you've got some troubled credit, he's got options for you there as well. And then, of course, for all of our sellers, you get with me, and we get you taken care of with Kevin's program, where you pay at closing.
Yeah, we do have also options for people who don't have very good credit and can't do the 30, 60, 85 program, but you are looking at higher interest rates, and and but it's a way, if you have to have it, a way to do it.
Sure.
One thing you mentioned about the millions and millions and millions of square feet, there's some billboards out there by a company that says they have the largest inventory in North Texas, and I'd really like to challenge them on that, because they have one store and we have 3 big warehouses. We have like 60,000 square feet in warehouses, and we carry a lot of inventory. So I'm just kind of curious what their
where's all their materials?
Right.
I think they're lying. We never know. They could be using one of them marketing and advertising tricks out there, trying to fool us regular folks out there. So, but Kevin, never trying to fool you. He's got everything up front. Folks, if you haven't figured that out by now, he's giving you his cell phone number to call. And this isn't a burner phone, by the way. It is his real.
Right. There you go.
It's his real live phone. It's on his hip, and it is not a burner. So
it happens to be the same number every week.
It is the same number every week. It doesn't change. We're not here anymore. Change the number. Folks, and by the way, one of the programs I like that you do, the Ideal Floors Gives Back. And you can get more information on the website, idealfloors.com. But Ideal Floors does give back. If you know of a family in need, a single mother, single father in need, elderly folks that are in need of flooring, and because they're in a dire situation, Kevin's program is a great program, giving back, and allows those folks to be able to get some flooring into their home. And folks, there are people in need out there. You have to remember that, in this time of year, especially around the holidays. If you know of anybody that is in need, Kevin wants you to reach out to him. Either call his cell phone number, go to the website, idealfloors.com, because he actually does give back to the community.
We sure try. It's something that we've really been laid on our hearts by God to do that, and one thing about God is that, if he tells you to do something, he always provides.
Sure.
So that's never been an issue. So, whatever we can do to help people would be, we really enjoy doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Okay, folks. Well, we've had another great segment with owner of Ideal Floors, Kevin Hamus. His cell number, 214-789-0422. Idealfloors.com is the website. Thank you, Kevin, for coming in and battling your injury to be in here with the rest of us that are all banged up. Folks, we're going to take a short break. Be right back.
Sellers, how would you like your home sold guaranteed? Buyers, how would you like your bid guaranteed to win? Well, it's real simple. Call Mike Kruizinga with Chris Arnold Premier Realty and ask about their guarantee programs for both buyers and sellers. No one beats Mike's professional listing and marketing services for all price ranges, including luxuries and ranches. And few have the knowledge and patience to take first-time buyers from renting to home ownership in a tough market. Visit DFWMetroplexRealestate.com and mention you heard this on the radio. And listen to Mike Sundays, 8 a.m. on KLIF for Inside Real Estate.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack, when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 1414 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 1414.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we're back inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga. Hey, we'd like to talk a little bit of sports from time to time, and I need to get you the latest and greatest skinny on the high school football. And we have got some scores for you. We know we had championship games yesterday. So let me run through these really quick for you. 6A North Shore took out Westlake 21-14. That's a state championship final. 6A D1 North Shore over Westlake 21-14. 6A D2, we got Katy and a big win 34-7 over Lake Travis. That's 6A D2. Your champion there, Katy, 34-7 over Lake Travis. These are state final championship information here, folks. 5A D1 in a shutout. George Ranch over Mansfield Lake Ridge, 56-0. 56-0. George Ranch kicked old Mansfield's butt all over the place. 56-0. That's a state championship final. 5A D1. 5A D2. Poor Frisco was downed by Cedar Park. I was shooting for Frisco there, hoping for him, but Cedar Park took them out 22-6. At least it wasn't total rout, but they didn't do all that great either. 22-6. Cedar Park's your champ. 5A D2, 4A D1. La Vega 33 in a close game over Argyle 31. Really close game. 2-point win goes to La Vega. 4A D1. They're your state champion. State champion in 4A D2 is going to be West Orange Stark. Big win over Salina, 22-3. 22-3. West Orange Stark, your champ in 4A D2. 3A D1 is going to be Brock, 43 over Cameron Yo, 33. Pretty close game, pretty good game there. Brock winning. They are your final champ. 3A D1. 3A D2. You're going to have Wascom 33 over Franklin 21. Wascom, your state champion, 3A D2. 2A D1. We've got Canadian Big 61 over Refugio 20. Canadians, your 2A D1 champs. 2A D2 champs, Bremen 35 over Albany 20. Bremen, your state champ in 2A. And, of course, I brought you last week the 6-man championships, which occurred earlier, and I'll just reiterate those. That was Abbott 40 over Crowell 30. Abbott was your state champ, 6-man 1A D1. Your 6-man 1A D2 was Richland Springs, huge 72 over Fallais 26. That's going to round out the high school football championships, folks. Those were all your state champions here. So good information there. And we're running out of time, so I'm not going to be able to get through all of my headlines yet, but I did want to bring you this headline because this was pretty interesting. One of the big ranches, I talk about the big ranches, they're getting bought up because we're going to develop them in the area. Pat Ranch, Provident Realty purchased the 468 acre ranch, which is the Pat Ranch over off the Chisholm Trail in Fort Worth. Property is owned by the family of legendary Fort Worth businessman Aggie Pat, and going to be developed in part with the Kroenke Group. And of course, the Kroenke Group is a huge company in and of itself, a real estate investment firm, but also owner of Kroenke Sports, which I'm very familiar with, who own the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Avalanche, the Rapids, as well as the Mammoth, which was the lacrosse team up in Denver, and of course St. Louis Rams as well. And if you didn't know, he's also married to Ann Walton of the Walton family, Walmart there. And so that was a pretty big story there, and a lot's going to be going on over there with both homes and in industrial. So that was a pretty big story right there. And we've got more headlines. We can't get to them right now. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll come on back for Mortgage Talk. See you in a few. With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today. For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
It's a new year and a new time for Glenn Beck. Right after Dave and Amy and KLIF News and Information in the morning, Glenn Beck live at 8 a.m. starting January 4th on KLIF.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we're back. Mike Kruizinga, Inside Real Estate. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. And by the way, moving forward, thanks to our tech-savvy technician, Mr. Sam here. He's getting all of our technical stuff going. Our Pinterest page is going to start linking you to all the stories that we talk about on the show. The Pinterest page, Inside Real Estate Radio. So if you're a Pinterest fan, you can punch in there, maybe follow on with us. And so every show will have its own board. And so if you hear a story and you'd like to hear more about that, the full story from where we got the information is right there on that Pinterest page, Inside Real Estate Radio. You can check that out. Folks, time to get into some mortgage talk. We've got Angela Meineke in studio from the Rocky Martin team, RockyMartin.com. Phone number 866-607-5667. How we doing, Angela?
Morning, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
I'm excellent.
Good.
And thank you also, by the way, you fighting your own injuries,
ailments.
We're all on the IR, if you will, and but we are
can
here.
Still play for the Cowboys, though.
Yes, we could. I think anybody could.
I mean, even us being injured, I think we could still make it.
True. Yes, absolutely. Kellen Moore jumping in there last night and did all right, even though he threw a couple picks, and we're just running out of quarterbacks. And I would like to say I am available.
I was going to say, put me in, Coach.
Put me in, Coach. What's going on in mortgage?
Well, I wanted to, you and Kevin earlier were talking about marketing gimmicks. So I wanted to kind of talk about and make sure our listeners are aware of some things that they might receive in the mail related to mortgage,
Yes.
whether it be, having just closed on a mortgage, maybe having shopped for a mortgage. And quick little story. Actually, my husband received a letter in the mail, and it came from a local auto dealer. And it was addressed on an envelope, handwritten to him at our home address. No return label. And we opened it up, or actually I opened it up and I read it, and it appeared to be a typed email that was printed out. And on it was a yellow sticky note, handwritten. So the email typed out basically said, from, I think the guy's name was Nick, to, I guess, one of his sales associates, saying, we are in a huge shortage of 2013 F-150s. Ironically enough, okay? We have one. Yeah, I know. So this email basically was from this sales manager to the sales associate that said, please reach out to, my husband's name is Jeff Meineke, and ask him if he'd be willing to part with his 2013 Ford F-150, and we'll give him 120% of Kelley Blue Book value. I've got a customer in, I think it was Saginaw, looking for one, and we just don't have any. And for his time, we'll give him a free oil change and a free car wash. And then on the handwritten yellow sticky note that was placed on it, it said my name, because I was with him when I bought it, and it had my maiden name, so I knew that they had done their research.
Right.
And it said, was with him when purchased, Angela Davis.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it looked legit. But my husband did some research and come to find out one of his buddies at work had also received a very similar letter, and it actually was a gimmick. One of the best marketing pieces I will give them that I have ever seen, because it really looks legit.
Looked personal.
It really did. And it was personal, because they went back through their records and they saw that he and I went in there and bought the pickup together.
Right.
And they were basically trying to get our business to get back in there, if nothing else, just to get back in there.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking about all of the letters and everything that our customers, our borrowers, and even maybe our listeners get. So a couple of the big gimmicks that I know right off the top of my head, and I'm sure you've probably heard of some too, Mike. Whenever you actually buy a house and move into it, of course, you're going to get a ton of mail. One of the things in Texas is going to be people offering to file your homestead exemption for you.
Yeah.
For anywhere between $5 to $35 charge, very nominal. So it looks appealing because it's a very, very, low price. It's free, and you do it yourself. So do not fall victim to those people trying to file your homestead, because at that point, they then have all of your information. I don't know what exactly they require on the form, quote unquote, to file your homestead for you. A lot of that stuff is public record anyway.
Right.
But in the event, they ask for your phone number, which is not public record. They have that then if you do fill out these forms. All you have to do to file a homestead exemption in Texas is go to your county website.
Right.
It is free. I actually have done it several times for my clients, because I go to my closings and I get the form from the online website, fill it out, put it in an envelope, actually write out the address and put a stamp on it. So all they have to do is sign it. Again, totally free. I can do it. You can do it. Our clients can do it. Anybody can do it. So do not fall victim to those people trying to file your homestead exemption.
Yeah, and honestly, you are bombarded after you do buy a house with mail, and you're bombarded with these folks a lot, and and they might be charging maybe $50 or $75, some of them maybe a couple $100, and sure, they might actually do it for you.
They will,
but you could do it yourself for free really easily, and plus you don't know where they're putting that information.
That's right.
They could also be selling your information. Because honestly, when we give out information, how many times does it go into lists, and those lists get recycled and sold? Because honestly, folks, if you wanted to buy a list of a particular type of demographic, it's out there.
It is out there.
Whatever list you want to buy. If you want to buy, age X to X, lives in this area or whatever. Look, I used to be in marketing, folks. You can go out and buy any list, and you're on one or more or a lot of lists. You just are. And that's just the way it is. But don't be a fool, and don't pay that money, unless you're just lazy and don't want to do it. And then by all means, use somebody to do it. But
call me. Yeah. I mean, it's free for me. It takes. I know that specifically on Dallas and Tarrant County websites, once your deed has been recorded, which we'll get to that in just a minute. But once your deed has been recorded, you are available to go and actually file online. You don't even have to print anything out.
Right.
both for Dallas and Tarrant County. Rockwall County, where we're from, just print out a form, and I can actually print the form to a PDF file that I have, fill it in there, print it out, and again, put it in an envelope. All my clients have to do is sign it and drop it in the mail. It's very, very easy. It's free. Recording deeds. I recently found out, which, makes perfect sense. There are people that are now mailing you basically gimmick and marketing campaigns to record your deed. Well, if you have recently closed a house or ever closed a house, go back and look at your settlement statement. There is a fee that the title company charges you to legally record your deed. You've already paid for it. They do it.
Yeah, it's paid and done.
That's right. And they actually file it within the county, of course, that you live in, and you've already paid for it. You're going to get mail of people trying to offer to record your deed for an additional charge. And, if you don't know what to look for on a settlement statement when you do close on a house, it's there. I promise you it's there. Go back and look. You'll see it down in the 1200 section of the settlement statement, and it'll say record deed to county or city or whatever it is, and it absolutely has already been done for you.
Yeah, usually about a $24 fee.
That's right.
That's about what it is. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of these advertising pieces that they're going to send to you, they're going to try to scare you with something. Is your deed recorded? Protect your home.
Right.
Big words like that, scary words like that. And folks, most of it is going to be scam stuff, and you got to pay attention to that. And you're right about the automotive industry, and I love cars. Don't get me wrong. And these guys are a huge service to us, but they're excellent at marketing. They really are. And as far as data collecting, there's among some of the best as far as industries and data collection. Most of them use a program called Dealer Socket. And that's why it had your information there, because you were there when you bought the vehicle with your husband.
I don't even remember them getting my name, but they had, like I said, we weren't married at the time, so they had my maiden name. So they had all our information. It was pretty scary.
They're amazing at collecting data, and they just plug it all into Dealer Socket. Most of them use that one. It's the most widely known, and it is actually a great program. There's no doubt about it. But folks, don't be scared by that stuff that's out there. And by the way, Angela, if you close with Angela, she's going to just take care of that for you as part of the service. That's because they are number one at service satisfaction.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, several times, especially with first-time home buyers. I mean, it's specifically this call that I got was from one of my first-time home buyers that closed back in November, and she actually got one of the other ones, real quick, mortgage life insurance or mortgage credit insurance, where basically they say, hey, for a nominal fee per month, we will give you this insurance so that if anything happens to you, you have this $200,000 loan out here, who's going to pay it? Well, they'll give you an insurance policy to make sure it's paid in full. Well, that sounds great. Okay, $5 a month, and, I get hit by a bus tomorrow and they pay off my insurance. I mean, they pay off my mortgage loan.
Right.
Now, those are legit. However, you have to be very, very, very careful and read all of the fine print.
And there is a lot of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, go on their website, call them. And like I said, for our older generation, getting into a 15 or even a 30-year mortgage, that might be something you want to look into. It's basically like life insurance, only for your mortgage loan.
Sure.
But again, make sure it's a reputable company. Call me. I'll get you hooked up with a reputable company. We at Supreme don't actually offer that service, but we do have people, that are recommended that we know are legit and we know will take care of our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely something that's out there, and it might work for you. But as we've talked with JC before about cut rate insurance companies, there are cut rate insurance companies for all things, including this type of product, which you'd want to be very careful about. There's no doubt about that, because, if you're only spending maybe a few bucks a month and something happens and, there's a $200,000 risk that they've got to absorb, what's the likelihood of that getting paid? Where do they stand as far as paying those types of claims? So
exactly,
you got to be super careful.
If it's too good to be true, it usually is.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to get with Angela, and she will never steer you wrong.
No, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, straight up, and it's funny because I've been doing this a long time, and I've heard of just about all of the, pieces of mail and literature that our borrowers are going to get, whether it be 10 to, 60 to 90 days after closing. It kind of comes in cycles. First you're going to get, you're going to continue to get those, too good to be true advertisements of trying to get your mortgage loan or get your business, even though you've already closed. Then you're going to start getting the homestead. Then you're going to start getting, let me record your deed. And then finally, about 90 days in, you're going to get bombarded with that credit insurance.
Right.
So it's just cyclical. I get calls every 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, so on. And I've been doing it a long time, and I can tell you if it's legit or not.
Yeah, and by that time, you're going to be like Kramer on Seinfeld, and you're going to want to just go to the postmaster and say, I don't want mail anymore, ever. And they're like, what? You're going to have to see the postmaster general. This is not possible. You must receive mail. No. Folks, don't be bamboozled out there by all that crazy mail coming to you. Get with Angela on that. And, folks, it's been Angela Meineke with Supreme Lending. Rockwall, RockyMartin.com is the website, 866-607-5667. Folks, by the way, got a couple new listings out there. If you're an investor looking for a quadplex, just put 614 Ray Street on the market over in Crowley. Almost 8% cap rate. So if you're an investor out there and you're looking for a strong property, this quadplex was built in 2000, so it's fairly recent, and it was extremely well maintained. Pretty close to 35. It's a great property over there that's going to be close to Cleburne, Fort Worth, and all those surrounding areas. So you're looking for an investment property, that's a great one. There's a bunch of them out there, but we just put that one on. Just so happens, the owner is out of state and they don't want to deal with it anymore. So great opportunity for you. So give me a shout if you're looking for a quad or any type of investment property. By the way, it does qualify for VA or FHA. The thing on those is you're going to have to move into one of the units.
Right.
But if you move into one unit, you got the other three cash flowing for you. So it's a great opportunity if you're a first-time, well, not even first-time buyer, but you've got your FHA or VA available. We can get you into one of those units, and then it's your first investment property. Later you can move out of there.
You could also use that rent of the other three that is they're currently rented to offset the amount of your total mortgage.
Yeah.
So if you move into one, you can use the other three that are already rented with their current lease agreements to offset the amount of the mortgage that you would have to pay.
Absolutely.
So it's easier to qualify.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we are out of time. Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We're back next Sunday, 8 a.m. Have a great week. Neither the hosts nor the guests or contributors of the show Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga are attorneys, CPAs, tax advisors, or investment advisors, and are not providing legal advice during the course of the show. If you need professional legal advice or services in 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 legal advice or services